Hi, my name is Amy Tang, and this is my introductory video for the Dancing for Him Level I school. I live in Sherwood, Oregon, with my husband and my three boys, ages 13, 10, and 8. I came to know Jesus as a young child. My mom got saved in the Jesus movement in the 70s and was really alive in her faith, so she discipled me and my sisters. She's a woman of the scriptures and of prayer, and so she really planted those seeds in my heart from a young age. My parents were and are married, but my dad just his faith when I was young wasn't part of his life at all. So it was my mom who really introduced me to Jesus, helped me to know the difference between relationship with him and religion, and I'm really grateful to her for that. I did wander from the Lord in my high school years, not as much out of rebellion or disbelief, but just out of a desire to fit in with my peers. And so I had some hard knocks to pay for that in my young adulthood, but in college is when I yielded to the Lord and really received his call to obedience in my life. The first time I saw dance in the church was when I was in my early 20s. There was a woman named Cynthia Newland who was a highly skilled dancer who was very just so like Jesus. She and her husband came to our church and she danced and he composed music. And I was so moved by their ministry and the beauty of dance and the way that it told God's stories. She wove expressive sign into her dances. And so I just love to watch and see how the words of the song came alive through her dances. And she held several workshops and she invited people in to dance in church of all ages, skill levels. She choreographed very simple dances for us while she could do more on stage, and I loved it so much. And so we went separate ways, but I did get to travel with her to the International Christian Dance Festival in York, England, in I forget, maybe 94, which was an amazing experience. I went to take care of her children, but I also got to participate. So from Cynthia, I learned how to use really simple movements, signs, and gestures to embody the words of the song and as acts of worship. And I brought that into the next church that I was part of and was part of the worship team, leading not so much full-on dances, but we called them prayer gestures with the worship team. And occasionally I had the chance to choreograph a solo and dance for the church. And then my husband and I moved to Sherwood 10 years ago to plant a church. And over those 10 years, right from the beginning, I started gathering children around special holidays and choreograph dances for them to participate for Christmas, Pentecost, our church's anniversary. And those were always such joyful times for me. I just loved working with the children, and I loved the chance it gave me to worship and dance. And I found that every time I was in the midst of a dance, my own relationship with the Lord would really come alive. And about 3 years ago, I noticed that some of the girls who I danced with, they had taken dances in a studio outside and they had grown so much. And I was still doing the same things. I had grown in my relationship with the Lord, but my dance skill really hadn't grown. And so I said, Lord, I think I should either hand the dancing over to someone else or I need to get better. And he just responded to that by opening doors for me to grow in dance, to grow in ministry, and to get some training. I found a woman online, Jocelyn Richard, who became a mentor and taught me so much about dance. Through her, I learned about Dancing for Him Ministries and bought several of Pastor Lynn's videos, and starting with expressive sign, which really spoke to me and expanded my vocabulary. So I just loved that, and he opened the door for me to also start teaching what I was doing in church outside of the church, still with believers, but to homeschool children. So 2 years ago, I started teaching a worship dance class to homeschool children, and I teach them for about 8 weeks, and then we usually go out in the community to a nursing home. We're even going to go today to a nursing home to dance. And so it's been an amazing, amazing opportunity. I feel like God said, yes, you can dance more and you can grow. And teaching others has made me want to grow too more in my own skill. So I have grown. I've been able to take a dance in the community, in a studio. I've taken many classes over the last couple of years, both on technique and dance ministry leadership, and it's been a huge blessing. I have an online ministry presence, so a website, worshipdanceministries.com, and on that I blog, I share what we do in the church, and I have written an e-curriculum. I put together my 10 favorite lessons that I teach kids that I think are the most important biblical foundations for dance. And I wrote it really for the parents of my children so that they could teach their kids at home, but I've also sold it to many dance ministry leaders. So the reason I'm taking the Dancing for Him school is really because I want to grow. I want to grow in skill and I want to grow in dance ministry leadership. And also because I have a web presence and because I teach, I'm also looking forward to the certification for my own credibility. So that's me, and I'm really looking forward to what I have to learn and also to getting to know all the other people who are part of the class. Thank you very much.